What's up, YouTube? This is Too Raw for TV. All right, so you guys may remember Casey Anthony, right? I know there's a lot of younger subscribers I have that may either vaguely remember this or, if you're like 20 or younger, maybe something in that range, maybe even 25, maybe you don't quite remember this very well, but Casey Anthony was the Orlando mother. Well, you know what? I don't think she deserves that title. Orlando, a woman who, back in 2008, was accused of unaliving her own 2-year-old daughter, Kaylee. All right. And I would say about 99% of America, based upon the evidence that was presented, when you use your common sense, believe that she unalived her own daughter. And apparently the motivation for it, she didn't want to be a mother. She didn't want the responsibility of being a mother at 22. She wanted to live her life. And so therefore, she, I guess in her mind, aborted her kid just 36 months after giving birth. I guess in her mind, that the abortion statute should go past giving birth, but she just got rid of her kid, allegedly, right? And, afterwards she was partying up, being a 304, doing whatever. And now all of a sudden, now she's about to hit 40. Now all of a sudden she wants to go on TikTok and be some legal advocate. A legal advocate, I think she puts it as for women's rights and LGBTQ rights and all of this BS. But the nerve of this woman to come out, and when you listen to what she's saying, especially toward the latter part of the video, she's talking as if somehow she's a victim. But anyway, listen to what she has to say.
I sweat to death. Okay. Today is Saturday, March 1st, 2025. This is my first of probably many recordings on a series that I'm starting. I am a legal advocate. I am a researcher. I've been in the legal field since 2011. And in this capacity, I feel that it's necessary, if I'm going to continue to operate appropriately as a legal advocate, that I start to advocate for myself and also advocate for my daughter. For those of you who don't know, my name is Casey Anthony. My daughter is Kaylee Anthony. My parents are George and Cindy Anthony. This is not about them. This is not in response to anything that they have said or done. That's not to say that I'm not going to respond at some point to some of the things that they have said and done. The whole point of this is for me to begin to reintroduce myself. I'm doing this both personally for me, but in a professional capacity. Moving forward, the majority of what you will see will be me speaking in a professional capacity. My goal is to continue to help give a voice to people, to give people tools and resources that they can utilize so they actually know where they can turn to. So with that, please join me on Substack. If you have questions, I will set up an email address where we can correspond directly. Up until this point, that has never happened. And it's only going to be on a limited basis regarding legal issues, legal matters. One of the main reasons that I'm doing this, there are people close to me who have been targeted and attacked recently. There are also people close to me who have had some recent things occur. And when necessary, people needed to step up, myself included. So as a proponent for the LGBTQ community, for our legal community, women's rights, I feel that it's important that I use this platform that was thrust upon me and now look at as a blessing as opposed to the curse that it has been since 2008. With that, these aren't going to be perfect. They're not going to be edited. Most of the time, they're not going to be short. But I am proverbially standing in the light, embracing this piece still going to keep my privacy intact, so you will get very comfortable with my car. And I will explain in great detail why it's so important for people to protect their privacy. It's not just important to public figures, it's even more important to private individuals. And with the current climate in our country especially, it's that much more important, which is why I am utilizing the Substack platform. Yes, I am advertising this and publishing this on TikTok, possibly also through other Meta platforms, but my intention is to separate from that and showcase even more why Substack is such an important resource for people to utilize moving forward. Anyway, I appreciate your time, and we'll see how this goes.
What a piece of shit. All I hear is I'm using my notoriety on social media to generate revenue for myself. That's all I hear. I know all that other bullshit was just a bunch of gobbledygook. Okay. Poppycock. So look, notice she didn't say advocating for children's rights. I noticed she didn't say that. So look, those of you who are younger, it was back in 2008 that Casey Anthony did not report her daughter missing for, I think, a little over a month. And if I'm not mistaken, I think even then she didn't report her daughter missing until, I think she had an argument with her parents. She lived with her parents. She left with her daughter, her 2-year-old daughter, Kaylee. And I think she just sort of went AWOL, Casey. And her family didn't find the car, which I think was registered in one of the parents' names. They found it in an impound. And when they went into the trunk of the trunk of the car smelled like death. Okay? Death. It was maggots in the trunk. A strand of Kaylee's hair was found in the trunk, which I think is the most damning evidence, the strand of her hair. And the smell was consistent with that of a dead body being in a trunk for a substantial amount of time. And somehow, some way, this woman got off scot-free. I think it was later that year, in December, Kaylee's skeletal remains were found in a wooded area. The skull had duct tape around it. So you don't know, you just got to imagine what they did to that baby. Okay? 'Cause I think it was surmised that it might have been Casey and her boyfriend, who later tried to unalive himself, probably out of guilt of what he did. But someone like Casey, she's a sociopath. So she doesn't really feel remorse. You know what I'm saying? She don't feel remorse for any damn thing. Also, when authorities were looking into a computer at the household where she was staying at, they saw Google searches for chloroform, which some people believe that was used to either put Kaylee, in a state where she was, unconscious, or if you do it long enough, you can take somebody out with chloroform. There was other searches that were very, very unusual. Okay. What to do, how to dispose of a dead body, etc., etc. But because that weak ass prosecution couldn't deliver a sufficient case to convince the jury that she did it, because they couldn't quite tie her to the scene. Even though if you use your common sense, you think she did it. But legally, you're supposed to be able to prove guilt without a reasonable doubt. So because of this technicality, she got off. And plus, she was a white woman. She's a white woman. You can't agree that doesn't help. And she's considered an attractive white woman. So because of that, partially because of that, she got off. And after that, she was living her life, you know what I'm saying? Partying, being a 304, doing all of the selfish stuff that she wanted to do because she felt like Kaylee was tying her down. Then she got a BBL later on, and she's doing her thing. Now she's pushing 40. Now all of a sudden now she got all it out of her system. Now that her guts have probably been rearranged and whatnot. Now she, want to be serious and, settle down or whatever the fuck you want to call it. I strongly advise everybody to troll this woman on TikTok. She don't deserve anybody's respect. We all know what she did to her daughter. You know what I'm saying? At least in my opinion. And, there's some things that I want to say, but I don't know if I want to say it on YouTube, but I'll just say this. Casey Anthony was a precursor to a lot of the modern people that we see today as far as putting their own personal wants and needs ahead of their children to the point where they neglect their children. Or the women who, now look, I'm all for women's right to abortion. I'm for that. But I don't think that should be something that should be totally abused either. And there are people that abuse that. Casey, to me, is, and I don't want to necessarily tie the right to abortion to what she did, but I do think that she is sort of like an extreme example of the selfishness that we sometimes see in people and in women. You know what I'm saying? You took out your daughter because you didn't want that responsibility. You could have gave that child for adoption. There's a lot of people who don't have children. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of people who would dream to have raised a little girl like that. You ended that girl's life. That girl will be 20 years old or something like that now. She'd be 20 years old. She had her whole life ahead of her. And I know she did it. There's no other explanation for it. And she never really showed any true remorse for it. She's a scumbag, man, the highest order. That's all I got to say about it. Tell me what you guys think.